Good afternoon. Looks like we didn't really feed you good food. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Very warm welcome to the second edition of Dell Technologies Forum. As some of you know, this is our annual flagship event, and actually we take the inspiration from all of you who have attended in the past. Many of you have told us that this is an event that you look forward to. This is an event that you come in because it's very thought-provoking. It helps you get a better idea of what's going on in the industry, where the entire technology is moving, and how you can go about implementing some of the things that we discuss out here along with our customers and partners. It's also heartening to know, and my team was telling me that we have a full house today. We were not expecting so many of you turning up, but it's absolutely a delight to see so many of you here. A lot of you have actually traveled from different locations to be here with us today afternoon, and it's a huge commitment. I really mean that you are definitely helping us build this business in India a big time, and your commitment, your time out here is very valued. Yeah. Let me begin by thanking you for all of the opportunities that you give us to serve you. Thank you for giving us a whole lot of support in the market. Thank you for bringing in a whole lot of support for the operations in India and my team in India. It's an absolute delight, and I mean it. I mean what I say. Thank you very much. I would also like to, at this point, thank our global partners, the sponsors who have helped us pull this entire show together, Intel and Microsoft. I'd like to extend my thank you to the platinum partners, Vertiv and Ingram, and of course the gold sponsors, Broadcom and NVIDIA. We have actually been on this journey for almost 3 weeks now. We have split the Dell Technologies Forum into 2 parts. We do it in 2 parts because we want to ensure that we not just cover the technologists, but also cover the CIOs. So actually, we started this journey about 3 weeks back when we went around to the different parts of the country. We have already covered 4 cities, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Mumbai, where a whole lot of technologists attended our sessions and got to really see what the future ahead is all about, and how Dell Technologies is really doing things to bring that to real life and help you deploy some of those solutions and some of those solutions and technologies that will help you manage your businesses better. Today, 26 September, we are here in Mumbai for the CIO Forum, and I'm sure that you will find these sessions very productive, very thought-provoking, and help you really build on to some of the plans that you have for your own businesses going forward. We are living in very exciting times. Actually, if I was to really show you how the graph would look like if I was to plot GDP per person for the last century and a half, the curve will look something like what you see in the green line out there in the slide. A lot of the growth that you have seen coming into the global markets has come in because we saw the growth of production, we saw the growth of consumption, and it can be described in different forms and shapes. One of the ways people define the growth in the GDP globally is through the industrial revolutions. So way back in 1850, the global markets experienced the first industrial revolution. It was all about machines being deployed in the factories. There was electricity that was invented. There was steam that helped these machines run, and we saw amazing amount of progress that the global economy made. Then came the time of mechanization, came the time of mass production, assembly line, and assembly line really gave another flip to the upside that you saw in the global economy. Most recently, about 2 or 3 decades back, we saw a whole lot of disruption coming in because of technology and internet. This disruption really impacted many products, many industries, and we saw that across almost all the possible facets of life that one can think of. I won't be far off by saying that, look, some of us have actually been experiencing that part of the Industrial Revolution that more or less is over now, and moving on to the new Industrial Revolution that is all about data. All about data, data era, explosion of data. You've heard many experts talk about how the data is exploding, how it's growing from year to year, and clearly, by 2025, the forecast is that the data would have grown to an extent of 163 zettabytes. Now, some of you would be wondering, what is a zetta? Zetta is 10 to the power of 21. And just to bring in a context of zetta, if you were streaming video on your device and watching a high-definition video, you would take 58 million years to get to a data size of zetta. And that's the kind of data volume that we will see and experience over the next 5 or 6 years. Interestingly, the data that you see today, 90% of that got created just 2 years back, right? And the data growth is expected to be doubling every 18 months. That shows the amount of data volume that is coming in and needs to be handled by the infrastructure on which it sits. It's important for me to point out that in 1850, when this entire journey of Industrial Revolution started, nobody had even thought of that there will be time when the Industrial Revolution, from one phase of Industrial Revolution to the other phase, there will be a lesser gap of time and things will change so quickly. In the new Industrial Revolution of what we are experiencing basis the data era, I would like to point out that there was a point in time when India and China were contributing 60% plus to the GDP, the global GDP. About 1,500 years back, both the countries had a contribution that was upwards of 60%. As of today, the contribution from India and China is less than 20%, right? What happened? Why is that India and China got left behind in terms of their contribution to the global GDP? Plain and simple. Both these countries, both these markets did not take the advantage of the industrial revolutions that came by. However, in the new age, in the data era, it is clear that it is our opportunity in India to really harness that and bring it to a point where it starts contributing to our GDP in a very big way. Of this entire exercise and play that we have, the dependence is going to be on technology. The technology will move almost 10 times every 5 years. That essentially means that if you are driving a car today at the speed of 50 kilometers per hour, in 15 years you can drive that car at 50,000 kilometers per hour if you assume that the car is a technology product, right? Is that kind of quantum leaps that one sees coming by because of what's happening on the technology front. Unprecedented growth creates a very, very different kind of output. And many of those things that happen because of that growth is unpredictable. Hence, it is said that 85% of the jobs that are going to coming up in the future are not even thought about, are not known to anybody at this stage. The compounded growth is going to come along with a whole lot of other challenges, but these challenges will eventually get addressed through technology, and there will be a major shift of man to machine partnership. Today, the man to machine partnership exists, but the level at which it will start operating will be very, very different. We are all blessed to be experiencing both the industrial revolutions. There's the Industrial Revolution third, which was on account of technology and internet, and the fourth, which is on account of data era. For us as a company, technology is driving human progress. That's our vision. The vision of Dell Technologies is all about technology driving human progress. It defines our values, it defines our culture, it defines how we conduct our business in different markets that we operate. We are committed to the sustainability, we are committed to inclusion, we are committed to transforming lives of everybody out there in the world. This has been the cornerstone of the journey that Dell Technologies has undertaken over the last three to 3.5 decades. I wouldn't be off if I was to say that we are in an industry which has an interesting play between innovation and obsolescence. I like to say that technology industry is the only industry where innovation and obsolescence go to the dance together, right? It is a fact that the innovation cycles in our industry have become very short. They continue to become shorter, and it is all because the obsolescence is really catching up. And that keeps the industry very, very exciting. At this point, I'd like to show you a video on innovation that will set the context for the future discussions that I have in the rest of the slides.
As machines evolve, so do we. Our touch is extending. How we work, live, and dream is transforming. Our own intelligence is multiplying. And as progress accelerates, so do the possibilities. Just imagine where 2030 will take us.
Pace of innovation is obviously rapidly going up, and to that extent, one sees a whole lot of emerging technologies coming out in the field. To name a few, it's 5G, it's IoT, it is edge computing, it's a whole lot of AI that these days people are talking about. But quite honestly, emerging technologies are transforming the way the societies are getting built, whether it is the work, whether it is the economy, or the way we live. All of these are getting impacted. I'd like to begin by talking to you about the economy first. From a future point of view, we actually had partnered with an institute called Institute for the Future, a research group that helped us really go about surveying different markets and looking at what the future trends are, what kind of technologies that one sees, and what kind of opportunities are going to come up in the future. They came back with a very interesting finding that when it comes to economic opportunities, there are three that definitely stand out. The first one being autonomous commerce. Now, autonomous commerce is nothing but machines having a lot more sensors, software, AI built into it, actually being consumers on behalf of the human beings that they are serving. It is happening today. It will happen on a much, much bigger and larger scale, to the extent that the human beings to machine partnership will take a very, very different meaning. Many decisions that the machines will take will be on behalf of the human beings, and they will end up doing things that the human beings need not really spend much time on it. So that's going to be a big opportunity. It's already there in some form and shape. Today you have refrigerators that can actually order on your behalf anything that has gone below a certain level of stocking. It can search on the net different sites from where it can source it. The AI engines have been built that can help you get the best possible deal on what you're trying to source. The second one is anticipatory production. This is all about production on demand. Clearly, the barriers for individuals, companies to get into production or manufacturing are going to go down. They're going to go down because there will be consolidation of manufacturing facilities. The differentiation between products will be minimal, and over a period of time, it will be the creativity of the individuals who are trying to put a product out in the market that will define what that product would look like. It is said that as time passes by, the meta making will be the concept that we will all experience, which essentially means that individuals, thanks to their creativity, thanks to their innovation, can end up building a product which can be done in a factory that they don't own, a manufacturing environment that they don't really own, and end up supplying it globally because there will be global supply chains that will support them in taking their product to different parts of the market. Third, leapfrog economies. Thanks to the technology, thanks to the inclusion that the technology brings, it will allow the governments, different markets to really uplift the folks from the poverty line. Take the people higher on the quality of life. To give you an example, in India, actually we are partnering with the government in a very big way on one of such projects where it will help the common man and more so folks in the rural setup to enjoy the benefits of technology. What we're trying to do here is create a DigiLife Care platform. It's a digital platform for health and wellness centers in the rural areas where different kind of non-communicable diseases can be detected, prevented, and diagnosed much early so that there is appropriate attention that is provided. Imagine the amount of money that the government will end up saving if this becomes a big success. The vision for this program is to get to about 500 million people across different rural cities and towns and villages in India. Moving on, second pillar, we talked about work. There are going to be large-scale opportunities in the work area as well. Inclusive talent. The talent that we will see will need to be a lot more comfortable engaging in a partnership mode with the machines. So it's about, again, human to machine partnership that will play a big role. And the talent has to be very, very open to be embracing that. Empowered workers, more of immersive collaboration, and AI fluency. I will be actually preaching the choir if I was to say that going forward, there will be amazing amount of importance that will be placed onto the skill sets that are going to be dealing on the AI front, right? Again, to give you an example, in India, we are working, again with the government, in looking at this at a holistic level, not trying to build the skills only for one part of what the requirements are going to be in future, but on a very, very end-to-end kind of a scenario wherein we're looking at how we can actually impact the education system that actually builds a whole lot of talent for the industries, and take it to a level where it also improves the skills of the people who are coming out of the education system so that they are employable. From our point of view, one of the areas that we have invested big time is what we call it as Atal Tinkering Labs. These are the labs that Niti Aayog has created. These are in the schools that are in the lowest end of the society. These are more or less the government schools that we end up engaging with. The idea here is to create the curiosity amongst the students so that the innovation fire can be built in their thinking. And we've seen some great success here. We've actually seen amazing amount of great success. 86 ATLs is what we support today, 3 community centers. And of course, as I said, for us, this entire program of talent, skills is a holistic approach. It's not just about the schools, it's also about the folks who are coming out of the colleges and are employable. Going to the third pillar, the forecast for the future of connected living is all about network reality. I'm sure you'll agree with me that the line between the virtual and the real is blurring, and what is overlaying all of this is the cyberspace. Today, we get limited in our digital experience by the screens. Whether it's the TV screen, whether it is the smartphone, we pretty much get limited by that. But going forward, one will see this to be much more pervasive, much beyond just the screens that we have. Connected mobility. Going forward, the vehicles will be nothing but mobile computers. We are already hearing about autonomous cars. We are hearing about how everything that happens inside the car is software driven. It will eventually become nothing but a mobility from a transport perspective. Digital cities to sentient cities. It's all about interconnection of smart device infrastructure within the city that makes the overall living and the quality of living upgraded multiple fold. Agents and algorithms, this is nothing but each one of us actually having proactive support coming in from machines. Machines acting as some sort of agent, some sort of administration support to us and giving us that helping hand in our day-to-day operations, in the day-to-day life that we live. Robots will be there in social life. That's something that all of us understand, and we've seen that. To give you an example on this, I'd like to point to you about the piece of work that we are doing. The Dell Technologies is doing in a Dutch city, along with Nokia. It's a partnership. It's a private-public partnership that we've got into, where we're trying to decongest the city out of the traffic that exists from trucks that are operating in that city. And we are basically creating a solution that is a combination of semi-autonomous barges in the water that flows through the city, and a whole lot of IoT solution that comes in from Nokia. This has really been a very, very pioneer piece of work that has happened between Nokia and Dell Technologies. What all of the future lies ahead of us shows is that data is going to be the key of everything that's going to happen in future. And when it comes to data, it is very clear that all the organizations, irrespective of the industry they come from, will need to be digitally transformed, will need to be on the multi-cloud, and will need to really drive insights out of the data that they have so that they can continue to serve their customers in a much better way. One of the critical elements of data era is going to be the AI, artificial intelligence. If you talk to experts around, they'll tell you that artificial intelligence has existed since 1956. So it's not something that is new. It was discovered then. It is just that it has not had the right environment to be able to progress and come to age the way that we see today. Artificial intelligence needs a whole lot of data feed for the algorithms to become that much more accurate. The compute capacity that existed when artificial intelligence first was discovered did not really have enough to offer for these algorithms, for these AI engines to be perfected. Today, we have reached a point where the compute power is more than enough for it to start really making a difference. If you were to look at artificial intelligence sitting in in different areas, whether it is image recognition, or for that matter, if you are talking to Alexa or Siri, you will find that the accuracy has reached a level of 94, 95%. And that's really, really big and strong. Even human accuracy in some areas is not that good. So to that extent, artificial intelligence is going to play a very, very big role in the data era. The second thing that will be required, and as critical as artificial intelligence to data era, is hybrid cloud to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will need enough and more capacity for it to continue to be able to consume the data coming in. And that would require a hybrid cloud environment that can help it get there. Needless to add that while all of this is happening, there is so much of data that is getting pumped through the pipes that even a 5G will not be sufficient to take care of the requirements that each of the solutions will have or need. Take, for example, autonomous car. Today, autonomous car has multiple sensors, multiple cameras. Each of those are pumping in huge amount of data. If we were to assume that all of this data has to come to a central location for it to be analyzed and insights driven and a decision taken, then we are basically saying that the car has to be on the road, ends up seeing an obstacle in front of it, sends the data into the cloud and waits for a response to come. Probably it'll be too late for the car to avoid the obstacle. So go forward, the edge computing will start playing a very big role. Edge computing will come into the play because it would help manage all of the processing of data and insights and the decision making at the edge itself. The fourth area that is going to be very, very critical is the software defined. API driven, we all understand this pretty well, but it will see more of acceptance across all the industries. And finally, workforce transformation, workforce modernization. I think the biggest differentiator for most of the companies going forward is going to be talent. And talent likes to work in an environment which is aligned to their aspirations. Aspirations not just from a professional growth perspective, but also aspirations in terms of what they can use, how they can use, and the technology that used within the organization. All of these 5 areas will be covered by my colleague, Patricia. She's going to be coming up and talking about each of these areas in depth. So I'll leave it at that. I won't steal the thunder from her. Go on to talk to you about how some of these things we see from our perspective. These technologies get embedded into different kind of transformations that we have been talking to you all for last 2 to 3 years. We split it into four pillars. It is the IT transformation, it is the workforce transformation, it is the security transformation, and application transformation. On the IT transformation front, it's very, very clear that unless you modernize your IT infrastructure, automate that, and transform it, you are not going to be able to handle the entire data load that's going to come your way with regards to your businesses. And that's absolutely, absolutely critical to be addressed immediately. Workforce transformation, I touched upon it earlier. Security transformation is one in which, so far, almost every other company has taken an approach of add on to whatever the challenges that you're facing on the security side. Go forward, this will need to get intrinsically built into the product. The product itself has to be secured enough to manage all the security challenges that the cyberspace is throwing up. We are working on this very diligently. We have huge amount of plans to incorporate most of the security stuff within our products. One such example is NSX. NSX actually is not just about software-defined network, it is micro-segmentation, which takes care of security in a very beautiful way. Application transformation, all these all these days, all these years, we have been extremely comfortable with the thought of deploying off-the-shelf application and customizing it to the extent that we need it to align to our own internal needs. By that I mean that these application developers have actually gone defining very generic specs and then giving it to the folks, and in the system of records perspective, it fitted in extremely well. Go forward, as you look at developing different services, different solutions, you will need to start worrying and thinking about whether you have the capability to code yourself. As in, do you have team, do you have a set of people who can do the coding for you? That's where application transformation comes in. We stand committed, as a company, we stand committed to the human progress. That's an area that is something that is a sacrosanct for us. What you have on the screen is Michael's quote. He says, as we prepare for the future with 9.6 billion people in it, it's imperative that we take a good, hard look at the impact we individually and collectively have on the earth we share. I mentioned to you earlier about how we are committed to sustainability, inclusiveness, and transforming lives. That's pretty much what this statement is all about. In the journey of preparation for 2030, I like to make a request to you that as you go through the sessions today, as you hear experts and some of our customers talk about how they've gone about managing the digital transformation journey, please be open to the idea of co-creating the future with us. Please feel free to reach out to us and give us those inputs that can allow us to really engage with you on a strategic level. Build those solutions that have never been heard of or deployed ever in any part of the globe. We have done that pretty successfully in India with many customers across verticals. We are very, very well prepared in India to be able to take on that as a challenge. And as I said, I'll urge you to really reach out to the team, to me, and let's see if we can build this to the next level.